Hey everyone, so welcome to another easy ground beef meal. So I've got some ground beef here and I'm just going to chop it up, and for this meal I want it real fine. I don't want big chunks. So this is probably a pound or a little less. I thawed this out when I made the tater tot casserole, not knowing how much I was going to use. So since we got those sesame hamburger buns from the pantry, I figured we'd have some hamburgers. Glenn suggested what we call chopped meat and ketchup. You would know it probably as loose meat hamburgers. So that's what I'm making, and this is super easy. It's a super easy ground beef meal. You can either make it for lunch or supper. We're having it for lunch because we do have leftover tater tot casserole. So that's what this meal is. I'm just going to continue to chop it up, and I'll be back when it's just about all ready to put in the ketchup. Oh, I forgot. I am seasoning this with salt, pepper, and onion powder. Alright, so I've got the grease drained out of there, so all I'm going to do now is add some ketchup to it. And that's all there is to making this. Super easy loose meat hamburgers. You don't even have to make patties. And you can add, of course, whatever you want to, like any other dish. But this is an easy ground beef recipe. Quick. And I have always liked these. This is something I learned to make when I got here to Wisconsin. I'm going to add just a tad bit more. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is cover this up, let it simmer, and while this is simmering I'm going to go cut up some tomato and grab the hamburger buns, and we'll be ready to eat. Alright, let's get to the counter and cut up some tomatoes. Alright everyone, so I'm going to cut up some tomatoes, and these are the small Campari tomatoes that I like to get. And these are actually perfect for hamburgers because on one tomato you could probably cover the whole hamburger, depending on how thick or thin you slice them. I usually try to get 4 slices on a hamburger, so there's one hamburger right there. Could even cut more. And these end pieces, throw some salt on them and eat them. Alright everyone, so I have these sesame seed buns that we got at the pantry, so that's what we're using. And I'm just going to put some Miracle Whip on there. You use whatever you want. Alright, gonna go ahead and get my loose meat on there. Alright, so there is the loose meat and ketchup. And now I'm just going to throw some tomatoes on that. I already got Glenn his, so he's set. We're just eating one at a time. And that's all there is to a loose meat hamburger. Again, put whatever you want on it. You want lettuce, you want mustard, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. This is how we eat it. And we're also having these Lay's dill pickle chips. We got these for free at Pick and Save. We got that monthly coupon book from them. And it gave us a free bag of Lay's chips. And Glenn on his also had some Vlasic zesty dill spears. He likes those. I'm not much for pickles. Yeah, I just don't eat pickles. Alright, so there is a loose meat hamburger. And I'm going to sit down and enjoy this. And stay tuned for the next easy ground beef meal. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new day. So, welcome to a new ground beef meal, something I am making for the first time, and that's basic homemade meatballs. I have never made my own meatballs. I've always bought them in the package already, but we got those really soft rolls in our food pantry haul, and I wanted to have some meatball sandwiches, but I didn't want to go buy a bag of meatballs. I knew we had ground beef, so I am making some very simple basic ground beef meatballs. And if you know me, I like to cook simple. I don't like it complicated. I just like the simple stuff, okay? And the reason I'm just doing ground beef meatballs because that's what we have. Not everybody carries ground pork in their house, which if you want to make Italian meatballs, a lot of people use ground pork or sausage, Italian sausage. We don't have all that in the house, so I'm keeping it very basic and simple for all of you, well, for us, and all of you that just like simple meals. And so I'm going to use the basic seasonings. I've got a pound of ground beef here. This is 80-20. I'm going to be using some onion powder, some garlic salt, salt and pepper, 1 egg, and about a quarter cup of breadcrumbs. So from what I understand, the more breadcrumbs you use, the tighter and drier the meatball can be. So I've seen some recipes with a quarter cup, some with a half a cup. I don't think I want to go with the half a cup, so I've got a quarter cup here, and I don't even know if I'm using all of that. So, and then I've got a scoop to scoop out my meatballs, and then I'll just form them into meatballs. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw some seasonings in here. I don't have measurements, sorry. I'm just throwing some seasonings in here. Got some onion powder, got some garlic powder. If it wants to come out, it's stuck. Ooh, guess it's time to it's been there for a while. It clumped on me. And I don't know why, because we use it. I mean, it's been a little while since we had garlic breadsticks or something. But, alright. Got that. Alright. Now let's throw some garlic powder in there. I don't like the taste of garlic, so I'm not putting too much in. Throw some pepper. This is much like a meatloaf recipe. The only thing I'm not putting in there is the sauce, like ketchup or whatever you put in your meatloaf. Throw some breadcrumbs. I'm wondering if I just should use 1/8 of a cup. I'm going to try that first. And an egg. Alright, now I'm just going to put some gloves on and mix all that together. I got my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Adjust yours accordingly. I know some areas you have to adjust the temperature according to your elevation. But yeah, first time making meatballs. And then also, from what I understand, if you overwork this, it could dry out the meatballs as well. And by overworking it, I mean doing what I'm doing now. People make meatballs with different ingredients. This is the way I'll make them. See how they taste. If I'll use this recipe again. But I'm looking forward to seeing what my homemade meatballs are going to be like. Now, because this is 80-20, I don't know if you use like a less fat one, but because this is 80-20, I'm probably going to get some grease coming out of that. It'll render out some fat. Alright, I think I'm good. I'm going to go with that. Stop messing with it. Alright, so I'm going to get a cookie sheet ready to go. I'll probably put some tin foil on it, maybe put some spray on it so it doesn't stick, and we'll see how these come out. Alright, so I got my cookie sheet with tin foil. I'm just going to put some olive oil cooking spray. I'm just going to spread it around. I don't want to put that much in there because, like I said, the 80-20 is going to render some fat. Okay, so now I have I think this is a 2 tablespoon scoop, so I don't think I want to make like, I don't know, we'll see, because I think they're going to shrink a little bit. I don't know if that's too big. I'll take a little bit off. We'll go with that. I have a smaller scoop. I think that would have been too small though. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Get the cookie sheet all lined up, and I'll be back. Okay, so here are all my meatballs. I got 17 meatballs out of a pound of ground beef. Again, it's going to depend on how big or small you make them. I think I've got them probably about medium size. So I've got the oven, like I said, 350 Fahrenheit. I'm going to put these in, and I'm going to flip them over after about, I'll check them at 15 minutes, and then I'll flip them over and cook them, bake them for another 15 minutes. I'm trying not to get them overdone, but after they're done, I'm going to go ahead and put them in pasta sauce, and then we'll make meatball sandwiches from there. Alright everyone, so it has been 20 minutes. I did change it from 15 to 20 minutes, and they're nice and browned. So what I'm going to do is turn them over. I think I want to cut one open though to see how done they are, because I don't want to overcook them. I think I'll just take this one. Oh, look at that. They're done. Yeah, I don't think I have to turn them over. Alright. So the tops haven't gotten like that seared look where it has a coating, like a crust on top. But that's okay. I'd rather have them not overdone. So And as I said, they're going to simmer in the pasta sauce for a little bit. But yeah, and that's a good size one too. So that took like 20 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and get my pasta sauce ready and put them in there. Alright everyone, so here are my meatballs. And they look a lot better than when I first took them out and showed you. So what I did, even though I said, oh, they're done, and after I shut off the recording, I figure I should taste it, and I could taste a little mushiness, like they look done, but they're not done. And I could taste that breadcrumb. So I put them back in, and I ended up baking them for a total of between 35 and 40 minutes at 350. So the texture is much better. They're a lot more brown on the outside. Yeah, the bottom's cooked nicely. I ended up not flipping them over, but you could see that they browned. So yeah, so they're good. Now I'm going to go ahead and use some pasta sauce that we received from the food pantry. And this is one way you could use your pasta sauce. If you got some ground beef and some seasonings, breadcrumbs. I think even if you don't have breadcrumbs, if you have croutons, you could crush them up and use them like that. Or I think even somebody said in the comments of my last video that you can use like oats, like from oatmeal. Alright. I'm going to cover this back up, tip it upside down, and let all the juices come. And I will end up rinsing out this jar or washing it out, drying it, and using it for a craft item. So, alright, so let's go ahead and throw our meatballs in here. And we're going to let them simmer. And I'm just going to eat this little piece. Alright, let me get a spoon. Just mix all this together. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my oven on, because I think I might want to use some of that Sargento cheese that we got, and put it on the roll and throw it in the oven so that cheese melts. Or put the meatballs on the roll, put the cheese over the meatballs, and throw it in the oven. I think that way sounds good. But I'm going to first let this simmer for a bit, and then we'll get our sandwiches done. Alright everyone, so it's time to put these sandwiches together. So this one is mine, and what I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and put my meatball stuff on there. Now these are really good size rolls, so I end up using a lot of meatballs, and I'm probably going to end up using them all. I've already made Glenn's sandwich, but I'll tell you about that in just a moment here. Yeah, so it looks like I'm just going to have enough for these, because I like the whole thing to be covered with meatballs. Alright, so that's the last meatball. The rest are on Glenn's sandwich. So now I'm just going to put some sauce on there. Now, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of sauce, so I'm going to leave it at that for mine. Alright, so, oops. Alright, so we got this cheese at the food pantry, and that's what I'm going to use on top. I know normally you would either use mozzarella, provolone, Swiss, whatever, but we don't have any of that, but we do have this that we received from the pantry, so we're going to go ahead and try that. So they come with dividers papers. So I'm going to put one there. And then put one there. Oh, actually I'm going to leave it open so this all gets toasted. So that's mine. Now let me tell you what happened with Glenn's. I made Glenn his. Now he had just woken up from a nap, so you know when you just wake up, your appetite isn't that great. But he said he didn't want any cheese, or he didn't want it in the oven. So he said just like that. So I made it just like that, and he did not like the bread just like that. So we're going to fix his up. A little messy here, but we're going to get some cheese on his also and get it in the oven. Alright. I'm going to put a slice on there, and I think we'll put like a little slice on there. We'll do that. Alright, so I'm going to put them in the oven just like that, and I'll be back. Alright everyone, look how that cheese melted, very nice. They have been in the oven for only a few minutes, between 3 and 4 minutes, and the rolls have a nice toasty feeling to them. But I'm wondering if I should put them in for just a tad bit longer, because Glenn's, because they have the sauce on them already and he's already eaten into them, his could use more toasting. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in there for a few minutes more, and that'll give the chance for the cheese to melt more. Alright everyone, so it's been just under 5 minutes total. Gypsy, no, leave that food alone. I'm talking and recording, so she knows that, so she's going to try to sneak the cat food. No. Alright. Alright, I'm going to go get Glenn, give his back. Alright, that just leaves mine now. Nice toasty bun, melted cheese. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half. Oop, that cut pretty nice. Get my plate. Alright everyone, so here are my meatball, this is my meatball sandwich. So from homemade meatballs to meatball sandwiches, and using what ground beef we had along with the rolls and cheese that the food pantry gave to us. So with that we made a nice size lunch. So that's going to do it for this meal, and stay tuned for the next one.